We were expecting an album out of Beyonce for the last year. The Super Bowl, when she toured, nothing.
Yeah.
Boom. You're the guy in the know. Did you know this was coming?
I knew it was coming about 45 minutes before the rest of the world knew it was coming, and I had to sit on my hands to keep from like screaming it from the top of mountaintops because I was sworn to secrecy. It was crazy. I mean, normal humans, right? Normal human pop stars, when they play the Super Bowl halftime show or do a blockbuster world tour, that's when they release their albums. But Beyonce doesn't need those trivial little, business normalcies.
Does this break down? I mean, Lady Gaga this week, I think they spent something like $25 million in their promotion for her tour coming up this spring. Does this kind of make Gaga look foolish? Beyonce did it spending no dollars.
Well, I don't think it makes Gaga look foolish. What it shows is these days there's a million ways to skin the cat, right? Like, I mean, because of these internet platforms, because of these social platforms, Beyonce takes Instagram, she takes Facebook, she goes right to the fan, she says, here's my art the way I intended you to see it. And fans, and if you think about this, when has this happened in your lifetime where you got to experience music without having any idea what you were supposed to think of it? The artist hasn't explained it, this is what it means, no critics telling you should like it, you should not like it. It's just direct to fan, and that's the way so many of the sort of pop obsessives such as myself experienced it last night. It was like fresh white snow of Beyonce. It was amazing.
Now, she's coming to New York next week. Broker tickets have said up until today it's about $2 grand for front row seats.
Yeah.
You think that's about to get a lot higher?
Oh, God, yeah. I mean, this just became the place to be, right? I mean, it's amazing. The thing I love about this, by the way, for Beyonce is, like, she didn't release an album this year until, a few hours ago, and yet she had this amazing year in music, right? She had a blockbuster tour. She had a giant sponsorship deal with Pepsi. She played the Super Bowl halftime show, and what this really shows you is how the business of music is changing, because it's not just about album releases. It's not just about, getting songs out there. It's about how you sort of manage yourself and your own brand, and you have all these opportunities to have an amazing year in music without even releasing an album. And then on top of it, the exclamation point is she puts out this amazing work of music and art.
All right, well then compare. Billy Joel's about to do a set of concerts at MSG. He's not putting out, I mean, people are going because he's the piano man. They want to hear songs he released 20 years ago.
Yep.
Who can sell out more, Beyonce or a Billy Joel?
Well, it's hard to compare, because when you look at a Billy Joel, you're talking about someone who has, 30 years of history and 30 years of fans built up. He's got older fans with more money, more disposable income, but, that's kind of neck and neck. These are two artists that either one of them is capable of selling out not just one arena night in a city, but really as many arena nights as they kind of care to stick around for.
I want to talk about what's motivating Beyonce. This week, you've come out with your 2013 top charts.
Yep.
Ryan Lewis and Macklemore are up there, the top duo, and they released without a label. They did it on their own.
Yeah.
Is she trying to say, I want to be more like those guys? Because I don't see her on the top of your chart.
Well, I think when an artist reaches a certain level, Beyonce's not on the top of her charts because she didn't really release music this year. I think it's a safe bet that she's going to be a pretty big figure on the top of the Billboard 2014 year-end charts on Billboard.com. But, I think what this is about is just Beyonce really seizing this sort of direct-to-fan opportunity. There's a lot of chatter about Beyonce. Everyone kept expecting the album, and when it didn't come, people were like, oh, maybe there's problems, maybe there's this, maybe she needs a different manager, maybe. And I think, Beyonce really just wanted to, like, smack the haters, smack these little, twittering birds with just this giant hammer of awesomeness, which is essentially what she did. Well,
did she also want to smack Spotify, Pandora, and anybody else streaming? Because she gave this exclusively to iTunes. What does that say?
The challenge in this day and age, when there's so many different ways for people to discover and hear and, experience music, is, you can only debut something in one place. So a typical artist now has to sort of create, like, lots of different exclusives. So, they create their album, but then they create this remix for Spotify, and they do this thing for iTunes, they do this thing for...
remix.
Yeah, right down the line. There's nothing wrong with a Pitbull remix. Hopefully we can get Pitbull to remix this segment. You know what I mean? It's going to involve partying and international women, and it's going to be hot.
Champagne.
But I think that Beyonce really, when you reach a certain level as an artist, you just don't need, like, labels built Beyonce. Labels played a big role. Columbia Records played a big role in getting her to this point. But once you're this big, it kind of shows you can go direct to fans.